Hello and welcome to our Christmas holiday episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
Casey.
Hi, I'm Jesi.
And I'm Josh, and it is so great to have both of you here to celebrate the holidays with.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yay.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah, all the holidays.
Yep, anybody that celebrates.
What do they say? Merry Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas? I don't remember the mashed up word that they came up with.
I observe Christmas. Most of us do, save for Ari, who celebrates Hanukkah, and Tori celebrates both of them.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting that the two people that I share the panel with, save for a particular individual that may be coming in a little bit, have always been different. So, it changes all the time, so...
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this is my first Christmas episode.
Yep, this is yours and yours.
Yay, woo.
So,
It's a Christmas miracle.
we're going to be going over a short work that embodies the holiday spirit in The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. I hear something.
What is that?
It's Charlie Claus!
Is that what the kids do these days? I don't know. Hey, how you doing?
It's called flossing.
I do that when I brush my teeth. How are you?
Oh, thank you.
Happy holidays.
Oh,
Happy holidays.
thank you.
Happy holidays. I like it too because I'm a little slow tonight.
Oh.
I'll be right back. I got gifts.
Are you sure that these are yours and you didn't steal them from
What?
Salvation Army?
No, why would I do such a horrible thing like
How
that?
could you accuse Santa of such a thing?
That's what they look like. They don't look like his belt.
Is that where he gets his gifts?
Oh, he's got me a gift.
Oh, what's this?
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you,
No, it's
Charlie
Merry
Claus.
Christmas,
Oh,
Julie.
sorry, I'm a little slow. Amazon is killing us, guys.
Delicious.
Alright, let's see what else we got here. I don't know what this...
No fork. I have to
thing
eat it with
is.
my hands.
I'm gonna be doing the same. I
These are for me.
Oh.
Keep in mind, I
You
can't
didn't
see,
get
Jack.
a gift?
It's for me. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
And happy holidays.
Oh,
I have no idea what it's about. I'm just a deliverer.
thank you.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Ho, ho, ho.
You want some chocolate
Ho,
on
ho.
your
Yes,
carrot?
please. Ho, ho, ho. And rake, 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 and shovel, shovel, shovel.
Okay, I'm a little too ladylike to eat this with my hands.
Do it, do it, do it.
This tastes
On
like, just
camera.
like this tastes just like delicious orchards, Charlie
Oh,
Claus.
wow. How did you recreate such a delicious...
Well, let me explain. I broke down and got Amazon myself. I know, sue me. Got all these spam emails. Hi. Ooh, dark chocolate?
It's delicious.
Enjoy.
Would you like some?
I'm alright. Thanks. Trying to watch my girlish
You might
show.
have to fork feed him the chocolate with his hands being full.
Open up for the airplane.
This airplane, I will open for.
Okay.
There's no medicine in it, is there? My mom used to do that to me when I was real little. Real little.
For
The only way to do it.
You couldn't quite rape them.
for our discussion about the Gift of the Magi, which we mentioned it back in season 2's Christmas episode.
And drumsticks for me. Sorry. You were saying?
I might have to finish this cheese Danish. I'm almost done.
Would you like me to eat this? That's paper. I can't eat paper.
You
I've
can't eat
learned
paper.
better.
Silly, you're Santa. You eat cookies.
You've
I'll
eaten.
just put it under.
I love
Charlie
cookies!
Claus has eaten paper before.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Shh.
I know Charlie Claus.
I know you too.
He's like a vacuum. He just eats everything.
I love vacuums! They
Okay.
suck, but anyway. Let's roll.
The Gift of the Magi is arguably the most discussed short work about Christmas in literature, and the second most discussed work only behind A Christmas Carol. Its concept has been adapted in other forms of media, such as adaptations on Sesame Street and Rugrats.
Yep.
Oh.
This is the original story, as written by O. Henry.
A classic.
Oh, Henry, the chocolate.
It is a classic.
It is.
What kind of message, impression, or observation of events did you pick up or develop from reading this story that you did not previously have from the story's mention, adaptations, or concept?
May I go first, please?
Yes.
I'm sweating in this. All right. I really have not read the Santa has a speech impediment, kids. Sorry. For what I got out of this basically is, even though this was years gone by, it was still what I'm going to say a consumer Christmas. You know, I got to get my husband this beautiful what was it, the chain for the watch?
Yes, the chain.
The fob, the chain, whatnot.
First she sold her hair.
Yeah, she sold her hair
in order to accumulate the money to get the chain. For
exactly, and she got and of course, just so you know, this is open to spoilers, so don't sue me unless you really want to. To get coal. It was They were living in an $8 flat a month, so $8 for rent, really.
And they were only making. It started out as 30, and then it dropped to 20.
20. So the cost of living was down quite a bit, but that's just the time period we're in here. So she's more worried about getting her husband. What's his name? Jim. Yeah,
Jim.
Getting him.
Her name was Della. And
Della.
his name was
That's
Jim.
right. Yes, I read it this morning twice, like 2 to 3 times. I still don't know what I'm talking about. Pushing on sale. This is on sale. This is on sale. Christmas, yes, and other holidays. It is good to have gifts for people, especially for those that really don't have. I personally, even though I'm Santa, my alter ego rather be giving a gift rather than eating it, taking it. Oh, God.
I think we get what you're
Receiving.
saying, Charlie.
Receiving, yes. I prefer to give. And
I think I understand what you're trying to go with here.
Yeah.
It's that the story kind of points out that everybody is oh, Christmas, I have to give you something. I'm going to get rid of my prized possessions because Christmas can't go by unless I give you something. And
Right.
it has become very commercialized.
Consumer.
Consumer,
push
whatever. But at the same time, I think it has, a beautiful meaning to it that,
Yes. I agree.
these people were willing to, give up something that they loved just so that they could give their significant other something that they would have loved.
And it's just ironic that they were thinking in the same exact way.
Yes.
Where she gave up her hair in order to get the chain for her husband's watch, but he gave up that watch in order to get nice combs for her hair. But for the record, she didn't lose all of her hair. She lost most of it.
she said it grows back fast. Well,
Yeah,
hello,
she looked
look
like
at me,
she said
And
she looked like
that's-
a Coney Island chorus girl.
And I think that was the best
Welcome
part
to
of the
Coney
story.
Island. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I think that was the best part of the story was that, they realized that they had each gotten each other something that the other gave up for each other. And it just kind of left them with, oh, well, how about we pack it away and just give it to each other later because your hair is going to grow back. I'll eventually get another watch, and we'll worry about it next time. And I think it really kind of brings out more of the meaning of, spending this time and being with each other together on the holidays as opposed to
He wanted those pork chops.
In the adaptations, it's a happier ending because it's aimed to children. But
I love children.
There's something just so on Sesame Street. It was Ernie and Bert giving up their prized possessions so that they can get an accommodation for the other. But they gave them to Mr. Hooper, who in turn he gave them their possessions back for Christmas.
I need to watch
I remember that Christmas Eve on Sesame Street. It's a childhood classic.
I need to go back and watch that. I watched it when I was really
you would like the Cookie Monster part because he's trying to get to Santa Claus, but yet he eats every form of communication.
He eats everything.
The phone, the typewriter.
I don't at all.
I know Cookie Monster well. We are tight. And I know Animal well. We are even tighter.
Okay.
He is a good drummer, but I think I got him beat there.
What did you think, Casey?
Well, I think it's funny because I saw it differently. I agree with what you're all saying that it proves people will give up their own prized possessions for someone else. But I also saw it as, if you truly love each other and you both realize you're struggling, isn't it just better to agree not to exchange gifts?
Mm.
Because even then, even if he did sell his watch and she sold her hair, he could have put in savings, investing,
True.
something
You have a
better.
good
so
point.
that
That
you're
is-
not
that
A
is
lot
always,
a
of
good point, yeah.
relationships do that, where they
so
they
that you're not
agree
always
to.
that way.
Yeah.
You're not
And
always
there was
struggling.
somewhat of a communication divide there.
So I thought that it was, I don't know, when you're struggling financially, sometimes I believe people make wrong decisions that make their situation worse than it could be.
Mhm.
Because it seems like if you did something better with that money, at some point you won't be struggling anymore, and then you can buy each other whatever you want, and you don't have to sell your hair
It's a fair
anymore or
point.
sell
Yeah.
For sure, fair
Mhm.
point.
your stuff. So that's what I saw, that even in Christmas time, a lot of people go in debt, and it's like, but if you love someone, you shouldn't want someone to go in debt just for you.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you should.
But
be
they're still
willing to
very
say-
young and just beginning.
And I will also say this: there are, I mean, it's just speaking out of from what I experienced, shall we say, in my family. On one side, oh god, I'm gonna crap cold down the chute. Anyway, with one neighbor wanting, let's say one neighbor has 3 deer, like reindeer, on their lawn, they had to have 17. I'm not even joking. I'm not even embellishing this. 5 Christmas balls, they had to have an entire case on the tree, to the point where the tree was like, "Ugh." I mean, it's like, stop trying to outdo everybody, really, because you got 1,000. Let's say the Christmas village has 5 places, like 5 buildings on it. This one took up a whole living room.
Kind of like, I get what you're saying. Everybody's trying to like
Out
up each
show
other,
it.
out,
It's like
outdo
it's
each
not a
other.
competition. It really isn't. Put something out, enjoy it, because you're going to be putting it away in about 2 weeks. Sorry, I'm a little on edge.
That's the way people think sometimes. I mean, some people
No.
go over the edge with their Christmas decorations.
And it's good to have fun.
Right.
That's what it's about. Have fun.
I
I
think
have to
that,
admit,
but don't make
I'm-
yourself nutty
I'm for
over it.
sure one of those people that like go over the top. Like I'm like Charlie here. I love
I mean, I'm
giving
guilty.
gifts.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Oh,
not very
yeah.
good at picking out gifts, but every once in a while when I get that light bulb of like, oh my god, this
I
person
love
would
light
love
bulbs.
this.
So don't
I-
taste
I
love
go
doing that, too.
all out, and
You
it
know,
is
yeah.
a problem for me. I probably shouldn't spend as much money as I do, and you are absolutely correct. But you know, at the same time, I like seeing my loved ones, happy. And if it's something that I really truly think would mean something to them, to me, yeah, I might regret it a few months later when I'm like, oh my god, I can't make my credit card payment. But at the same time,
Eat your
I'll
credit
remember.
card.
Yeah, eat the credit card. There you go. But I mean, it doesn't really replace the smile on their face, like
Yeah,
knowing that they got something that they truly love, and them well enough to get them something that they truly love.
Yeah, I agree with that method. I love seeing people react positively.
Me too.
If I get them something and they enjoy it.
Usually I'll get the, how much did you
But,
spend? It's like, it's for you, enjoy it.
Yep.
I think something that is worth examining with this piece is the execution. And I think that I personally feel that the message was stronger than the story.
I do too.
Even though the story, I thought that the characters had dimension to them. I think that
Dimension.
you know that O. Henry was getting at his message of the Magi and the idea of gift giving. There's only the cutting of Della's hair. Only 5 words devote themselves to it. Down rippled the brown cascade. They don't do any more description of the haircutting process.
I think it's good though. I feel like they didn't really need to. I feel like that was just a nice way to like kind of tie it up,
Depends.
put a bow on
It
it.
depends on
There
what
you
he's
go.
trying to get at, because I think that the agony of her decision would have added to the piece too, where the whole because it just reminds me of the fast forward challenge on the Amazing Race, where the
Amazing Race. Sorry,
Charlie.
Not
the
the
on
song.
the fast forward the the female half, because the male half already didn't have any hair. In order to win the fast forward, she
Yeah,
had to
but
lose all
I
her hair.
felt like the way it was presented was that there wasn't really any agony in her decision. Like, yeah, she did love her hair, but she apparently loves Jim more, so it was easy for her to make that decision.
That's true, and it was easy, but yet at the same time, there could be that sense of whether or not she should be going through this decision. To her, it's perfectly, she's doing the right thing, and she's going forth with it. Because she knows the hair is going to grow back.
Right.
But still, I think that it would...
I get it. I used to have really long hair, and I cut it really, really, really short. Like, when I tell you long hair, like, about the buttocks area, and then I cut it here. Okay, so, like, I definitely get that there is a little bit of anxiety when it comes to, having long hair and then cutting it real short and then just not having it anymore. But I feel like the point that he was trying to make with that kind of 5-word sentence was that she didn't really have that. Because, she did love him and she wanted to make sure he had something nice to open on Christmas morning. And if that meant she had to sacrifice hair that would eventually grow back, then, she was okay with that.
But on the contrary, he does devote a lot of time to his reaction when he comes back to the house and notices that she doesn't have the hair.
She thought he was going to be mad.
He pretty much zeroes in on every single facial expression and reaction and there was this, because she did feel that he was he would, because she was worried that he was gonna think that
get mad or
not love
see her as
her
beautiful
because she didn't look
That's what I
as
wanted to
pretty.
say.
So there was, I think that there are areas where he devotes a lot of time, but yet he doesn't devote them to.
But I feel like he chose to devote, and you guys know me, I love details. Like, short stories usually can be rough because they don't add enough detail, but this, I feel like this work, I felt like he did it really well, just because you didn't really need that much detail. It was the classic story of, I got you this by sacrificing this, but I got you this by sacrificing that.
Comedy
So,
I think that
and
he's the pioneer of that too.
Yeah, and I feel like, he put the detail where it was needed, where it was necessary, because here, where she is actually having some anxiety, oh, well, don't you still love me? I'm still the same person. Just because my hair is gone, that doesn't mean I've changed or anything, because that's where the anxiety was. It wasn't in her decision making and she had a right to be, because he didn't say anything.
And she was looking at wigs right afterward too.
Yeah, and
so there was still a sense.
There was a little bit
question.
of something.
But to devote 5 sentences to the the fact that it was being removed.
I felt like it definitely made more sense for him to put the detail in the facial expressions.
Not even if it was just if it was just one segment, like maybe a paragraph, but not.
But then at the same time,
words.
how much could you really talk about the hair being cut?
To an not 5 words is not enough. Maybe 15.
At least 15.
You gotta cut it there.
3 sentences.
Just the whole, maybe 3 sentences where it's the process of the hair being removed, just the hair being chopped off and whatnot.
Maybe one sentence each.
I'll write you a nice paragraph next time I go get my hair cut.
I'll do one too.
Yeah, maybe
I can tell you they run the comb through.
Maybe it's worth being published.
Add it to
But otherwise, I personally feel it's the last message was because it makes mention to the fact that Christmas, the origin of gift giving comes from the 3 wise men and their gifts to baby Jesus, but these were very useful, productive gifts, whereas it's very. I find it interesting the way that he wraps it up, and I quote.
He
Sorry,
quotes.
can I go back for a little bit?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
By all means.
I'm thinking now he probably was shocked because he realized the gift he got her was for her hair.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it was
what I
more
think
that
the shock
than-
was.
It wasn't, I don't like you not having hair.
Yeah,
It's
no.
like,
But it's
I
clear
just
that
spent
that's
my
what she
money.
thought.
Yeah.
I got rid of my watch for you,
Mhm.
and now you don't have hair.
Yeah.
But it
That would've
was
been my
that's the
reaction.
whole.
Like,
It's the whole.
get it
It's
back.
like the example that I used for Charlie is I give up my books in order to get Charlie a cookie jar, but at the same
Oh, thank
time,
you.
Charlie gives up his cookies in order to get me a bookshelf.
My whole freezes over, but I would do it. I would do it. I would do it.
He would.
Which-
I know.
I can't. He can't. Well, neither can I. Hey,
But-
I think I have elves.
I would be the Magi and give you guys cookies and books.
Thank
Oh.
you so
After you
much.
sacrifice for each other. I'll be...
Oh, you'd be
I'll
like.
be-
I'll be in urgent
you'd be the
care with a
Mrs.
nail in my
Hooper.
head.
Yeah. I'll be the Mrs. Hooper.
I can only build
Yeah,
things with
happy
Legos.
ending.
And they
Because
taste
I'd be the
bad.
one because technically I'd be giving. If you're the one that sells cookie jars and bookshelves, we'd be giving the books and cookies to you.
Yeah.
But the ending here, it was
Wait, what?
interesting. It was very.
It's okay.
I think I know where he was getting at, but the message, the
Have a
last
cookie.
paragraph reads, "The Magi, as you know, were wise men, wonderfully wise men, who brought gifts to the babe in the manger. They invented the art of giving Christmas presents. Being wise, their gifts were no doubt wise ones, possibly bearing the privilege of exchange in case of duplication. And here I have lamely related to you the uneventful chronicle of two foolish children in a flat, who most unwisely sacrificed for each other the greatest treasures of their house. But, in a last word to the wise of these days, let it be said that of all who give gifts, these two were the wisest. Of all who give and receive gifts, such as they are wisest. Everywhere they are wisest. They are the Magi." So we pretty much, I get on one hand he gets, he pretty much goes in a circle where next to what the Magi did for baby Jesus, this is something that's completely irrelevant, but at the same time, it's because it's so meaningful for them.
And I think it kind of brings us back to the point that was brought up at the beginning of the discussion. It's, you know, it's a story about how even though he compared them to the wise men of, like, you know, unwisely giving up their cherished possessions,
Yeah.
they did something that was completely selfless.
Mm-hmm.
So
It was out
that
of
the
love.
other, yeah, exactly. So that the person that they loved, you know, could have an enjoyable Christmas.
Mhm.
And I think that's what he means by they are truly the wisest ones, because, you know, they
For
that
one
that's
another.
that's the meaning of Christmas.
Because
you know, it's about
because life is life that's life is viewed within a closer lens, maybe from an exterior lens.
it seems
it's a bit
laughable.
frivolous.
Yep, frivolous, laughable.
But
then when you look at it, you know, a little bit more deeply,
and then put-
you know,
and then put yourself in their shoes too.
What if they didn't have shoes?
I'm pretty sure they had
Hypothetically.
shoes.
Well, I would also
There's
say it's a great image of marriage itself, because
Mhm.
they both
Yes.
gave up their own
Mhm.
for their spouse.
Yeah.
And they didn't,
That's a
you know,
because
they
her
didn't-
her hair was
Yeah,
the
it
most.
really is.
Her hair was her greatest physical attrute, and his watch was a
the most
family.
expensive. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it was his father and his father's father,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken.
And I love the way you said that. That's a great way of looking at marriage as a whole. It's about, you know, not just the Christmas season, but, you know, marriage is about sacrificing and giving. It's not all about just, you know, receiving, and you know, it's never one-sided. You have to, you know, work together to make each
Right.
other happy, and
Oh, absolutely.
otherwise it doesn't work at all.
And in retrospect, it does come full circle.
It does. And, you know, when it comes down to it, they may have sat there and they would have laughed. And I mean, the way I see it, I still see it as, you know, a beautiful, happy ending, even though he didn't get his watch and she didn't, her hair still has to grow back. You know, it just, I feel like sitting in their shoes, they know, wow, you know, he loves me, and he knows that I would have loved these combs. And he's sitting there thinking, you know, she loves me so much, she gave up her hair to give me this beautiful chain for my watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they get a deeper understanding of how much they do love each other. And I think that in itself is, you know, rather beautiful and happy.
Yep, I would say so. I think that the revelation in itself is good enough, especially for the audience to which it's targeting.
Right.
And the period of time, because O. Henry wrote during the early 20th century.
Right.
So,
$8 a month.
Yeah.
that was
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say.
that's
what I
when-
wouldn't give.
That's when $8 was worth $8, and not
True.
32 cents.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair point.
But
Still, what I wouldn't give.
do we have any final thoughts?
Phenomenal work. Read it if you
It's
find yourself if you don't have anything to do. You can. Josh, of course, has it in his handy dandy.
I had it on my cell phone.
Complete and unabridged O. Henry. This
There you
is
go.
this is everything you would possibly want to have as far as O. Henry short stories are
Is that
concerned.
Penguin Publisher?
This is Barnes & Noble.
Oh, okay.
Something.
This is quite...
Handsome.
I got this
Look,
from the book garden.
You could put someone out with that.
This is one of my
Not
greatest
that-
finds there. I got this the same time as I got Jack London. So,
Oh, okay.
anybody else wanted to say anything?
I mean, I guess it's a beautiful classic, especially at Christmas time, because as you said, you know, it's referenced so much in, you know, throughout, basically since he wrote it, it's been used and reused, and it teaches, I feel like, you know, a beautiful lesson to when it is used in things like Sesame Street and Rugrats. You know, it teaches a beautiful lesson to young kids. About, you know, it's not all about gimme, gimme, gimme. It's also about
What can I do
giving.
for you?
Yeah.
Giving.
So,
And Ernie and Bert are two of the most, one of the strongest friendships to young audiences, to incorporate them into the situation that Jim and Della went through.
exactly, and they're the two perfect characters to use it for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, because I think what was I think in Rugrats it was
Phil and
Phil
Lil.
and Lil, yeah.
It was the crayon box, crayons and coloring book, and the Reptar doll and Reptar helmet.
Yeah.
But Angelica was doing, she was just doing it to be
Angelica.
spiteful, yeah.
She was just doing it to be
She
Angelica.
terrified me as a child. And I'm still a child. I identify. No, really.
I miss
she's
Rugrats, I'm not gonna lie. I
Yeah.
loved Rugrats.
out of my alter ego, by the way.
I'm pretty sure I've seen both Sesame Street and Rugrats, but at the time, I don't even think I knew about this story. And so now I can't even recall any of it.
A lot
it's-
of those
it's-
shows
I'm kind of with
will-
you. It's like I hardly recall the story, but at the same time, when I was reading through this story, I was like, I know this story, even though I've never actually read the original. To me, it's just
That's
I don't
how I
know. I've
felt.
always just kind of in passing, always seen the story, and until you said it, I honestly couldn't think of where did I hear this before.
Well, the
Where
title
did
sounded familiar, but I couldn't remember why.
I read
Yeah.
a script version of The Gift of the Magi. I never read the short story itself, or if I did, I vaguely remember it. But
'Cause I
I'm
think-
so glad that I picked it up.
I think
because
even like Will and Grace does it too.
probably
There's a lot of like sitcoms, and like I said,
a lot
it's
of
like
television
I couldn't tell
shows
you
will-
which show I saw it in, or which book I saw it in, or whatever.
And
But it's like I know this story.
a lot of television shows will reference film and especially literature.
And they're gonna
The
try
Gift
and
of the
outdo
Magi is
each
a very
other.
common. Actually, it's probably the second most referenced. Only A Christmas Carol is done more.
Yeah, I
Wow.
love the Christmas Carol.
Careful.
I love it.
Careful.
Alrighty then, I want to wish everybody on the panel and all of the viewers here a very Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy Yuletide, a Happy Kwanzaa, and a happy, healthy, and
Christmas.
safe
Enjoy.
2020.
Yay, 2020!
Yes, no?
Yay!
Alrighty then.
I think I found
Merry
on my.
Christmas!
Yay!
Alrighty then, be sure to join us again, and for now, keep reading!
Keep reading! Woo!
See ya soon.